This video is on the difference between rastering, vectoring, and color mapping and where they're all used. As you can see here by this example, I'm just going to go over pretty quickly here, but this square was rastered, this square was color mapped. The difference between rastering and color mapping is that rastering travels back and forth as it engraves. So even though there's a bunch of empty space here, the laser has to go all the way back and forth many, many times to get this square to complete. Now with color mapping is more like vector cutting, except we're using very high speed, very low power. So this took 5 minutes and 18 seconds, whereas this only took 3 seconds, because instead of going side to side like this one did, this simply cut around all 4 lines very quickly. On our computer, using CorelDRAW, I've created the letters R, V, and CM for raster, vector, and color map. A letter that is rastered has a solid fill, and in this case I'm using no outline, so that will just raster. My vector cut letter has no fill, and it has a hairline outline. My color mapped letter, however, has no fill, and it does have a hairline outline. It doesn't say hairline. It is a hairline. It has a hairline outline, but it is a very specific color. It's RGB, in this case R255G0B0. And I had to bring up a second color palette over here. By default, my color palettes were CMYK, which is just one type of colors, and I'm using now RGB colors. When we go into File, Prints, and go into our print settings, everything is normal for rastering and vectoring. I would look at my chart and go, okay, in this case I'm using Luon 0.1. Here's my raster settings, 4500. Here's my vector settings, and there's a third column here for color mapping. So where does that go? I've got my raster settings, my vector settings, just like normal, but in this case there's a tab up here that you may have never noticed called color mapping. In this, I am able to set, and see my RGB 25500, just like my RGB 25500 down here. I can set special settings for lines of that specific color. And I'm getting these settings off of the laser settings chart. Once I set those settings, I click Apply, and those settings change over here. As you can see, you can color map different colors all in the same file. I'm just using the red. That's typically all I will ever use. I'll press OK, apply, print, and let's go over to the laser and see. So here it is rastering. Notice how long rastering takes. It's going to be the longest of all 3 of these processes. Here's color mapping. Notice how it's just like vector cutting, but it's way faster. And here's our vector cutting. So as you see here, if I could pop that out, it didn't quite cut. There we go. Rastering is for etching, vectoring is for cutting, color mapping is for very quickly marking things that are a red hairline. All right.